All right, kicking it off with the man that once put a stamp on the fact that he is the greatest rapper of all time. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I feel like, you know, back when he used to claim these things, right? It was pretty much, it felt solid. It felt like something that would be immovable, unchangeable. You know what I'm saying? But now in an age where digital footprint can age, you know what I'm saying? Y'all tell me, do y'all think the statements of him being the greatest rapper of all time, Lil Wayne that is, come on, you know, we talking about Lil Wayne, by the way, do you think, you tell me whether it aged properly or it aged you know, badly, right? The whole statement of him being a legend. Well, okay, legendary status, I don't think we can take that away from the man. But I'm not gonna lie, whatever he went through, I mean, that biggest, you know, experience that brought significant transformation in Wayne's journey, you know what I'm saying? His whole little thing with the record label he was signed with, that whole thing, I think it changed a lot of people's POV on Wayne, right? Let's see how that turned out.
I'm just mad reactive, but my heart ain't with the drill shit. Can't wait to grow out of this rip that is sweet as honey and peaches to me. Free the magazine to dump on enemies, cause buddy, you can't do me wrong, then live to tell the reasons. I mean, this shit ain't sweet pea till I humble me from the sea. Yeah, mercurial blood vessels, my skin do shine.
Well, don't come at me with your rocks yet, man. Let me just correct myself, right? He did claim to be the greatest rapper alive. Yeah. Remember that little ad-lib? Yeah. Easy, baby. Please say the F, cause the F is for phenomenal or some shit like that. Yeah, I remember that was even a thing when they were like, bro, F, like, phenomenal doesn't even start with the letter F, brother. Like, what are we talking about? Like, can you even spell right now? Like, you know what I'm saying? F is for phenomenal. Nah, F is for fucking amazing. Nah, some shit. Like, he, like, come up with something. I know y'all remember that, bro. So yeah, he claimed to be the greatest rapper alive. You know what I'm saying? Y'all tell me who won. Did that age nicely or badly, right? Little Wayne, ladies and gentlemen, let's do it.
I'm a slave for your ear. I'll die to make what you hear great.
And did you ever think, am I a good role model? You know, am I a good example for people on how to live their lives?
I'm not an example for people on how to live their lives, and never in my life would I ever set out to be an example for people on how to live their lives. If you need an example for how to live, then you just shouldn't have been born.
You know, I've never been one for features. I remember just being like, yo, this project, like, I really want Wayne on it. I didn't want to get him on some, like...
Yo, let's take a moment of silence to honor, like, the legend of Wayne, though. Come on, bro. Legendary status. That's why I said in the intro, we cannot take the legendary nature out of his status. Like, we cannot take that away from him, right? But the aging of just like the journey, you know what I mean? The bumps along the way, this and that and the third, you know what I'm saying? Like did that age probably, like business, politics, feel me? Wayne and his current image, even what is this, reputation, right?
Swag shit, like with him, like just rapping and talking shit and stunting. Like, my favorite Wayne is like introspective Wayne, you know? It's like talking about some shit, but no matter how deep he goes, or just like him slowing down for a little bit and just like talking.
My life matter, especially to my
I am hip-hop. And I ain't dead, I'm alive.
Oh shit.
Ladies and gentlegrams, The Martian made moments in 2008. Now naysayers saying he was never even great. April Fool's Law, ladies and gentlegrams. I'm still in my fall-off era thanks to J. Cole, and the rhyming intros are retired for now. Drop a comment if you want them back, or if you're happy they're gone.
I study
Rapaholics
for a living.
It was a cold Canadian fall in 2006, and a 10-year-old Rapaholics went to the CD store with his amazing mother, who allowed him to purchase the clean version of Lil Wayne's CD, The Carter 2. He asked her, why is there a label on certain CDs that say parental advisory explicit content? What does explicit content mean? Oh, this was actually a year later when Rapaholics bought Graduation by Kanye West. And she specifically quoted the intro off that album when Kanye raps, "Good morning, look at the valedictorians, scared of their future while I hop in a DeLorean. Scared to face the future, complacent career students. Some people graduate, but they're still stupid." And she said,
So that's your top two Mount Rushmore, Wayne and Ye. Okay, Rapaholics, man. I see you.
they put that little sticker on the album so that kids like you, impressionable minds, can't hear these artists who have it all talk about the advantages to not pursuing a college degree and getting a safe job.
Yeah, facts.
After all of that, you receive this.
Because they knew you would want to do the same thing. You would want to drop out of school too. Duh.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Kanye. Shut the f up.
No, I think that sticker really more so applied to later Kanye
Yeah.
bars like, if I just F this model and she just
Whoop-dee-dee
reached her
scoop.
butthole and I get it on my t-shirt, I'ma feel like a butthole. But that conversation always stuck with me, and I feel like it reflects what we're hearing right now in terms of discourse around Lil Wayne. Because recently, Lil Russell, really dope rapper from California, he was speaking on how when he was a kid, like most of us, he was so infatuated with Lil Wayne as a rapper, but as he grew older, matured, and gained new perspective and values on life, he realized that a lot of what
Nah, bro. Okay, look. Let me just give my take on why I think people have grown a disdain for Wayne. This was the words of Lil Russell. It was like, yo, I've grew a disdain for Wayne. I feel like, yo, it's about like how like the transformation of his reputation, right? From him. Did he win or lose the battle with him against Cash Money, right? Things like that, right? Wait, let me see. Let me see what the final outcome was, because I ended up not even caring what was going on with it, right?
Hello there, Sizway.
Yes, co-pilot. So did Lil Wayne win his legal battle against Cash Money?
Lil Wayne did reach a settlement in his legal battle with Cash Money Records back in 2018. He regained ownership of his music and was able to release his album independently.
But while he was going through that whole back and forth with his legal battle, right, with Cash Money, what did that do to his reputation as far as how his fans saw him?
It definitely put him in a bit of a complicated spot for a while. Some fans were frustrated with the delays in his music, but overall, a lot of them still supported him.
Yes,
it was
more of the delays in the music and the promise of rolling out the music, right? The disappointment that the fans had because of that, right?
Exactly, you got it. It was really about those delays and the music rollout. Fans were just waiting and waiting, so that was where the disappointment came from.
What was Lil Wayne's energy towards his accountability, his own contribution in what was going on around his name? What was his energy like about the like his contribution to it? Was he positive about it? Was he like motivational about it? I don't know. Like was he just like considerate of his fans even? Like as a general artist?
He actually kept quite a positive energy about it. He was often appreciative of his fans and tried to keep them in the loop. Even though the situation was tough, he stayed resilient and was definitely considerate of his supporters along the way.
So it was the fact that like his fans would just like not gain the music. That was like parasocial as fuck though, if you ask me. So people just like fell out of love. Like what is the disdain though? Is what I'm trying to hear from Lil Russell, because he literally said, I got this disdain for Wayne, right? I don't know, maybe even the adaptation of new ways of delivering the music, delivering the raps. You know what I'm saying? His flow had kind of felt outdated, especially from Carter 6. Right? A whole lot of people had moved on to just like, well, a whole lot of the game and how hip-hop music sounds, it like with the raps and what was moving the culture forward. Yeah, it just like it didn't align with how Wayne was delivering his shit. That was my whole POV about it, right? And so that, like in that case, it's natural for somebody to just like fall out of love in terms of just, you know, your music. because that's what established the distance between me and Wayne's music. I'm not gonna lie, right? I don't know, when was that? Was that like around 2018, 2019? When did Carter 6 drop? Somewhere there. What was hot? I don't know. I think Travis Scott was going crazy. You know, people like that, like the younger crowd was actually, they were solidifying themselves like as the main guys now. The Travis Scotts, I think Tory Lanez as well was pulling up. And I'm only trying to recall like what was on the radio, what was hot on the radio. And you gotta remember, I'm in like a third world country, like I'm in South Africa, dog. So whatever charts there, you know what I'm saying? It's like if you chart there, like yeah, you come on, bro, like you were something, because they, you know, they cared about you so much to push you like in third world countries. I think even Sway Lee had some shit on the charts. I don't know, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to just reflect back on what was going on, but yeah, it's pretty crazy that people fell out of love just because of what he was going through, like, right? Because now obviously he was gonna delay the projects, he was going through something with his label, man. Come on, it's
what
natural.
Lil Wayne rapped about didn't have a lot of substance behind it, and if anything could have been negatively impacting the youth.
What up, though? One of the homies put me on Wayne, and it was like bars. I used to have a notebook, just bars.
What was your introduction to Wayne?
So there's two introductions to Wayne.
Yeah.
There's an
Damn, did I say Carter 6? I was actually talking about Carter 5. Wait, let me just clarify when these projects came out. Right? Hold on.
Hello there, Sizway.
Yeah, Co-Pilot. When did the Carter 5 drop?
In 2026, the qualifying draw took place
oh my God.
earlier
no,
in the year.
No. When did Lil Wayne release his Carter 5 album?
Lil Wayne released his The Carter 5 album on September 28th, 2018.
Oh yeah, I'm talking about the Carter 5, guys, not the Carter 6, okay? Carter 5, guys, not the Carter 6. Because I remember that's the one that had the Triple XXXTentacion feature, right, Co-Pilot?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, so yeah, Carter 5. That's when No, what the fuck I'm talking about? Oh yeah, nah. Carter 5 was actually hot. It was lit, right? It's just that's when like some songs he was getting out of touch in terms of the delivery that he was giving. Right, Carter 6, it was solidified. It was like, yeah, he's out of touch. Like he is in his own bubble, and I feel like being in his own bubble a lot kind of affected him in a net negative way. Right, I mean, his delivery, bro, it outdated. That whole song with the instrumental sounds like some jungle vibes, like jungle ABC kind of vibes. I don't know, and then he's just like talking about like nothing really, right? That's what I actually meant before. Like I was about to trip off of some other shit.
Introduction to Wayne,
My
that's
fault.
through culture and your parents that you have no merit in,
right?
And then there's an introduction when you get to like dive, and mine's I think it was like the Drought 2, and that was like my
Drought
reintroduction
2.
to like, man, dedication mixtapes, the Droughts, like I just
Drought
got
3
immersed.
was lit.
Man, this was pre no ceilings.
Yeah.
I messed with Drought 3 heavy.
I mean, the Carter, the
Carter.
Carter 1 and Carter 2 were amazing.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad we're like positively talking about Lil Wayne because our last guest on Lil Wayne so hard.
I love Wayne so much, but
Well, that was before Lil Russell was about to shit on Wayne.
I understand how someone could be like, man, this isn't the Wayne that like I remember. You
Right.
know?
No.
I had a moment in my journey where I had grew a disdain for Wayne
There we
just
go.
because
Disdain for Wayne.
I started listening to everything. Like I started maturing as a human, and I'm like, damn, this wasn't talking about nothing.
So perspective is what contributed to you growing this disdain for Wayne, because you're grown now. You see life differently now. You were excited about, you know, the bars, the rhyme schemes, but then now you grow older, you start understanding the English language a bit deeper. Your vocab expands a little bit more. You understand things at a deeper level. You listen back at Wayne. But like, yo, we've always knew Wayne was like talking about nothing but pussy, money, weed. Right? I mean, he has a whole song saying he likes those things. Pussy, money. You understand what I'm saying? So, I don't like, I've always knew, like, for me, it was the excitement of, for example, his flows, bro. Rhyme scheme patterns and things like that, right? Alliterations, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like his use, his just like, even like formation of double entendres, double triple meanings in one line. And those things land. It's like that, like the technical shit, he killed it from the get-go. Bro, from Lollipop went crazy. Like Lollipop, I feel like Lollipop, man, that was one of the songs that literally like, okay, who's this guy? Like on a global level. Literally, I think I was in like grade 6 B. Back in the back of the day. Don't get it twisted, you know. Not Unk though, but yo, Lollipop wasn't about shit. Let's face it. It was about licking dick, eating that meat, eating that schlong.
For a long time, and like as someone who like grew up in these communities, right, and grew up with homies who I seen want to be bloods because they following Wayne and want to be gangster and want to shoot all the gun bar and shit. Right. Like I've seen the negative that he contributed to the community, and I had to look like, man, what are the songs where he really talked about something and gave? And out of 1,000-song catalog, you know, it's minute on this end.
It's like Georgia Bush,
and that do bother me. Man, Tie My Hands.
That's what I was gonna say. Tie My Hands is the only one I can think of.
And that's the thing. It's like if I hug you once, but I slap the shit out you 1,000 times, you know, your affinity for me is going. You're probably gonna remember me for this. And a lot of people don't. You know, as I mature, a lot of my old favorite artists, I'm now like, damn.
What up, though?
Man, what up with that? With that yell. The background.
I love you because I learned how to rap to you, but when you look at the contribution, it's like, man. But he was also a kid.
Yeah,
Wayne was a kid.
Yeah. He was like 14, 15 when he came out.
Man, a kid.
Like, you know, because think about it, he was dropped out of school at 13 years
Yes,
old. Like,
right.
You know, you're just like,
and he was adopted by gangsters, indoctrinated to a whole
Adopted
system.
by the projects.
It was like he gave everything he could, and I love Wayne.
Yo, let me quickly give this perspective right quick though. I feel like Wayne was young when he blew up, right? Wayne was young when he kind of like got exposed to you know, the industry, the game, and everything like that. But you got to understand, he then became a leader at a young age, right? He became a leader. You see how, you know, the trajectory of his music done blew, like it done blew up like across radio stations globally. You know what I'm saying? He was doing like global tours, right? Ever since like the Carter series, really. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, you're a leader now. You've got a whole lot more people eyes on you now, right? AKA the industry. It's not like just people who are pleased with with your music in your neighborhood, or people that you just happen to share the music with. At the time, man, you know, the internet was not what it is right now. So, you know, artists like Lil Wayne did rely on gatekeepers and gatekeeping and people to just like, you know, spread his music within their environments. Like there were certain gatekeepers. He was going crazy on radio. He was going crazy on TV. Going crazy, just, you know what I'm saying? Popularity wise. And so therefore now there's a whole lot more people to please. You gotta please a whole lot more people. Now, where am I going with this? Yes, you can, you know, you can be one of those artists that believe in a strong niche. You know what I'm saying? You're just catering to like what your people like about you in terms of like how you reflect you know, the relatable aspects of you and the aspects of you that can connect with your crowd. You know what I'm saying? But there's a limit to that. You feel what I'm saying? You can keep on doing that, but you're not gonna appeal to now these other eyes that are like staring at you now. Now you're a hot boy now, right? The irony in that he's like, he was part of a group called Hot Boys, right? Some shit like that. But you're a hot boy now. He was a hot boy now. You know what I'm saying? So now, not all those eyes, and obviously now, that's how you feed yourself. That's now a form of income. You're making all this money. It's like you gotta be on your toes to please this higher audience, this bigger audience. You know what I'm saying? So not only the deep songs, not only just the relatable songs from your hood and from your neighborhood, and your mama, your family, and you know how things was in like New Orleans, like, you know what I'm saying? It's like not the whole world is gonna relate to that. But when you literally talk about nothing, I don't know, just speak to something that just excites the human flesh, excites the human desire materialistically. You know what I'm saying? You might get something. You might get that appeal that the mainstream would like chop up in terms of, oh shit, the people are excited about this. That's because now he was trying to reach out to the global level of relating to people, right? Talking about, yo, lick my dick, lick my lollipop. You know what I'm saying? Going crazy on tracks like See Money We. You know what I'm saying? Like everything that blew up that like kind of made it seem like he ain't speaking about nothing. Even freestyle tracks like what is that, Amelie? Remember that Amelie one? That one went crazy. I was still in middle school, bro. That shit went crazy, right? But then he was balancing that shit out because he did have that depth to him too. But as I said, he couldn't just focus on just the depth because there's a wider audience that are not you're gonna lose them, trying to relay your kind of depth. You know what I'm saying? So tracks like like his first appearance on the song that I was exposed to was that Dollar Bill, young Dollar Bill with Wyclef Jean. That shit was deep, right? I mean, there's deep stuff like even in his like whole entire catalog, shit that went deep, bro. Shit that exposed the fact that he shot his own self at like a tender age, though. You know what I mean? Being part of like, or the negative effects of being part of these gangs and all that kind of stuff. How to love, exposing scars. Come on, man. Yes, he was a mad aggressive guy, but like, that's how he could just appease the whole, scope of the audience that had their eyes on him now. That's just my whole thing about it.
Now, I think this is a really interesting conversation to be had, but also quite sad in a certain sense. Now, I said in a previous video, as someone who's been very critical of Wayne's music and moves over the last 2 years, as someone who, like most people in 2026, may suffer some recency bias just because of how reactionary and fast the internet moves, but someone who also grew up on Wayne, right? Who the first CD I ever bought with my own allowance was a Wayne CD. I've been emphasizing that I think it's important that even if Wayne gives us 10 more Carter 6s.
Carter 6s? 10 more?
Even if Wayne cries for 20 more years during 20 different Super Bowl halftime shows that he was not able to perform at, we should still never forget the monumental run that Wayne went on, his impact on music as we know it, and the positives he brought to the game through his music and his message. Let's not forget that Lil Wayne put out his first album almost 31 years ago. Yes, 30 with a 3. Rapper BG, who was going by Lil Dougie at the time, collaborated with Lil Wayne, who was going by Baby D at the time, who was 12 years old, and they released a project together on Cash Money Records called True Story in July of 1995.
Damn.
Yes, my brother. I'm Baby D from that grown motherfucker.
I say that to say, if you want to talk about Wayne not
talking that spicy, hey man, yeah.
having any real substance or not talking about anything positive within his music for the most part. You have to look at two different factors. A, he's been doing this for 30 freaking years, right? Has given us thousands of songs. We can dissect, and we will dissect, the ratio of, you know, positive versus negative songs. But keep in mind, the man has thousands of songs that have been released, right? And then on top of that, I just showed you guys, he released his first album when he was 12 years old. This is a man who was then a kid and got brought into the industry before he could ever experience any real world issues for himself. So sometimes when you hear Wayne speak on certain things,
oh, bro, that yell, bro, it throws me off, bro. What are you doing with that yell, bro? Rapaholics.
whether it's in the music or outside the music, it's just kind of important to note that you're listening to the perspectives and thoughts of a man who has lived a very sheltered and unique lifestyle, right? So obviously, the way he views and raps about world issues is going to be very different than someone who actually experienced those issues firsthand. With that in mind, that doesn't excuse him for having no substance or sometimes saying things that are just flat out wrong.
I am a young, black, rich. If that don't let you know that America understands black matter these days, I don't know what it is. Don't come at me with that dumb man. My life matter, especially to my.
But ultimately, Lil Wayne is a very unique case, and with all that he's given to hip-hop, to music as a whole, 30 plus years devoting his life to this craft. As we dissect his catalog, I don't think it's fair to say that Lil Wayne has contributed a net negative to the genre or that he was never talking about anything.
But that's what I'm saying, though. A whole lot of the game is now, you know, chalking it up to like, yo, it was like net negative, because now you hear of his reputation. You mention Lil Wayne. It's like, yeah, Wayne, what about him? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not no, yo, the depth in people's eyes, you know what I'm saying? Where it's like, oh shit, Wayne. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe it's not supposed to be that way because, again, like, yo, the saturation of even a whole lot of people who are legendary, like, the lists are endless, right?
The Lil Wayne disrespect is getting out of hand. You have rappers on podcasts trying to say Lil Wayne has no substance or Lil Wayne would lose to T.I. in a verses. Let's talk substance. Pray to the Lord, Something You Forgot, Georgia Bush, Tie My Hands, Trouble, Gossip. He got on an Outkast track and out-substance Outkast. Jay-Z retired, Nas tried to say hip-hop was dead and Lil Wayne kept it relevant, cooking their asses on songs like Last of a Dying Breed or Beat Without Bass.
Last of a freaking dying breed, boy. Ah, shit, I don't remember that one.
While Wayne was giving us elite lyricism, on the side he created a whole subgenre of hip-hop with his leaned out harmony.
The sky is the limit. I think that was on Drought 3 or some shit like that. That one might have not been about nothing, but it sounded deep.
Wayne did with auto-tune and songs like Me and My Drink is as influential as what Kanye did with 808s. I don't care. Young Thug and his children don't exist without Wayne. Cardi's last two albums are a direct product of Lil Wayne. Rebirth, despite getting a negative reception, created modern rage music. Songs like I Feel Like Dying and his verse on Gorilla Zoe's Lost created artists like Lucky. Drake was a conscious rapper Trey Songz hybrid until Wayne signed him and took him under his wing. Kendrick Lamar was out here making Carter 3 remakes and admiring Wayne cook up on.
This nigga went rock from being a hip-hop artist before Machine Gun Kelly would have the idea to go that route. Facts. Look it up. Do your homework.
On songs like All My Life with J-Rock. Wayne was so dominant that he had people memorizing Mac Main and Birdman verses. Wayne did any and everything. He started rapping in patois at one point. I hate the fake pretentious rap fans who act like substance needs to sound like preposterous proportions. I never needed endorsements. You could put your favorite rapper in a chamber for 10 years and tell them to make a song that's as elite as the Dedication 6 intro. It would just be time wasted. Stop the Wayne disrespect. He's better than your favorite rapper.
I definitely agree with a lot of the points this guy made right here, but I think two things can be true at once. And what I mean by that is when you say, you know, Wayne lacks substance, can you even define substance? Like, what does substance mean? The real definition of substance is like water.
What does that mean?
Water in a bottle.
Nah, I feel like, look, my whole opinion, a motherfucker can just, again, this whole parasocial thing, it has existed way before, you know, way before its blow up time right now. It's just like it has a whole lot of buzz right now, right? It's a buzzword right now. Parasocialism has been there since Wayne and them's time. Facts. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, people would, like, I feel like this parasocialism, how it showed itself though, in Wayne's time is that I think people would want you to relate a story that would touch them and connect with them personally before they would be like, yo, nah, you got substance, like it's deep, it's like what you know what I'm saying? And you know, I mean, J. Cole, he killed that type of thing where it's like a whole lot of people, even on the main, right, industry, like mainstream kind of front, he still kept his sound where it's like, yo, it's not really about the excitement of the production and the beat and the knocking of this, then I just want to tell these stories and make sure that they, you know, connect to my audience's soul. You feel me? He didn't feel like he wanted to lose that in terms of, you know, with, you know, now considering the fact that he wasn't the mainstream, he didn't want to lose that. So he got it right. You feel what I mean? And so then now it's like, with people like Wayne, bruh, like that version of fuck, where was I going with this? Damn, J. Cole threw me off. Fuck, getting him in the conversation threw me off. God damn, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, wait, let me let it play on. I'll probably remember what I was trying to say.
When you say, you know, Wayne lacks substance,
oh yeah,
can you even define
fuck, nigga, substance. Right? It's the substance thing. So with the whole substance thing, people are selfishly expecting you to relate to their own experience, you know, connect with their soul. It's like I'm not gonna be able to connect with everybody, you know what I'm saying, on a personal level like that, one-on-one. Some other people like you talking about, you know, you smashing a whole bunch of broads, like in an area code. Like there's like actually grown men that like hearing about those things. There's grown men that talk about those things. There's grown men that like make their money trying to get those things. You know, like more money, more jewelry, cars, you know what I'm saying? Access to more drugs. Feel me? It's like, and Wayne did all of that. And he related to those people. Those people might consider him having had substance. You know? And then he has tracks like Don't Cry, featuring Triple X, and then obviously that's substance to another sort of crowd, right? To the sad boys, to the boys feeling like giving up and things like, come on, bro, like what this man ain't do.
Substance, like what does substance mean? The real definition of substance is like water in a bottle, fluids and organs in your body, the protons and neutrons and molecules and electrons and all that crap that's in physical, tangible objects, right?
I study crap battles for a living.
But when you define substance in terms of lyrics in music, like where do we draw the line, right? Is substance defined by lyrical depth, like how far you'll go into exploring different rhyme schemes, metaphors, how thought-provoking your wordplay is? Or do we take it a step further and say artists only really have substance when they're bringing an element of either social commentary, storytelling, or, you know, some emotion or vulnerability that,
and let's not get it twisted, Wayne had all of those,
that goes beyond the typical superficial themes that we see not just in rap music, but, you know, a lot of pop music in general, from money, partying, intercourse, etc., right? And then if we want to take it one step further, all right, I think Wayne personally checks off every single box of things that I just mentioned, criteria that could constitute substance within music. But what LaRussell was saying, and you know, the core of this debate is, was that substance within Wayne's music a net positive for his listeners, right? Were the stories he was telling, the complex punchlines, rhyme schemes, the times that he opened up and got vulnerable?
That's what I'm saying. Other people related to that. Other people found that exciting. To them, that's like good substance. And I feel like even substance, we can chalk it up to things that you can replay, you know, replay value, shit that's replayable, right? Wayne had all of that. You know what I mean? I feel like another theory is the fact that, you know, the young people that now are understanding the world in a deeper way are now getting Wayne when he's not, you know, Carter 4, Carter 5 Wayne, when Wayne is not like too, you know, excited, too invested, too open when it comes to like this rap thing anymore. Now they like, yo, nah, he's just like this unk that's out here like that, you know, talked about nothing and things like that. We gotta understand that times have changed. Different things affect you now, and the things that he was like, he would dive deep on in terms of social commentary, you know what I mean, and you know, things that affect people on a political level. The politics of when he was hot was different. You know what I'm saying? So how he touched people's hearts, and you listening back to that right now, you're like, what? Like, okay, cool. That's all right. You know what I mean? But at the time, it meant something. You know what I'm saying? And now you growing up in this time where you're an adult now, and these things he never touched on. These is new issues right now, right? For example,
on records or told stories or had commentary about his city, his people, the world, etc. Was he coming from a place of, let me try and deliver a positive message here? And if that was his goal, was he successful in doing so?
I start maturing as a human, and I'm like, damn, this wasn't talking about nothing. All the gun bar and shit. Right. Like, I've seen the negative that he contributed to the community, and I had to look like, man, what are the songs where he really talked about something and gave? And out of a 1,000-song catalog, you know, it's minute on this end.
Well, it's kind of unclear, right? Because on one end, Wayne's main goal, his top priority for like 10 years of his career was to be known as the best rapper alive, right?
Yeah.
And I think that he studied the game enough to know that being the best rapper stretches far and long beyond just being a great writer, right? I mean, Wayne really only became the best rapper alive and started calling himself that once he realized that his idol, Jay-Z, never wrote his rhymes down. So Wayne was literally not writing, right? And then Wayne was only taken seriously as the quote-unquote best rapper alive when he had kind of hit his commercial peak in around 2007, 2008, which was another factor beyond just writing that made him the greatest rapper, right? It was all that success and influence and impact that he was having.
Yeah. And you even saw like the skip in his step in that Amelie video, bro. There was like a certain skip in his step, a certain sparkle in his eyes, man. I feel like, yo, right now, bro, it's not only Wayne. A whole lot of people have lost the spark to life, bro. You know what I'm saying? It wouldn't just be Wayne. It wouldn't just be reflected in Wayne's music, right? And people that like, nah, let me leave that alone. I was gonna be like, yo, people who still do got that spark may be performative as fuck, right? Because, you know, that runs up the capital, that excites people. And whatever excites people, you know, gives you a chance to run up their pockets.
HIPHOP, and I ain't dead, I'm alive.
I say that to say, when Wayne set out on that mission to become the best rapper alive, I think he knew that part of that title meant that he'd be looked at as a thought leader, someone who moves the culture forward, and therefore you have to come with not just sonic but also lyrical diversity. And you most definitely got that from Wayne, right? Like at the height of him being the best rapper alive, he literally made a song where he was cosplaying as a doctor, pretending to save hip-hop and save these quote-unquote whack rappers who were on their deathbed. And ironically, with all this talk about Wayne's substance kind of being a negative impact on the youth, literally in this song, one piece of advice that he gives rappers is to quote-unquote watch what we say, because the kids do watch. Gotta work every day, gotta not be cliche, gotta stand out like Andre 3K, gotta kick it like a sensei. And just to go back to that story I told you guys earlier on in this video, just like Lil Russell and probably many of you guys watching, I was a kid growing up during Lil Wayne's prime years, right? And while there was a lot of music, a lot of CDs that my mom probably didn't approve of, but was nice enough to let me listen to in her car while she drove me to school or wherever, Dr. Carter, that was one of several Lil Wayne songs that she was even able to appreciate as well when she heard me playing it in the car. Like, she'll still bring it up to this day. Like, yeah, Lil Wayne, that's the one who pretended to be a doctor on that song, right? She loves a Millie too, but that's beside the point.
Oh, Lil Wayne's just too good. Oh, Lil Wayne's just too good.
Anyways, I say that to say it was obvious with songs like Dr. Carter and a lot of other records from this time period that Wayne was well aware of what it took to be the best rapper alive, and part of that was having substance, and beyond just having substance, you had to have some sort of positive message or influence within your music and challenge yourself to touch on more complex concepts, to speak on real world issues, to open up more, get more emotional. And so we saw that from Wayne. People who really followed his career closely are probably really angry on Twitter right now and would tell you that they felt that from Wayne.
Born in New Orleans, raised in New Orleans, I will forever remain faithful New Orleans.
But at the same time, when you look at his mainstream career, like if you did give Wayne one of those Super Bowl halftime type of performances where he can only perform like his biggest, most iconic songs, you're going to get a lot of subject matter related to kitty cats, money, violence, guns, etc. So for someone kind of just looking at the grand scope of Wayne's career and his
as in like for the most part, you'll get that. Right.
Monstrous run from a surface level, you're going to say, yeah, he never really had much substance, right? And a lot of the substance was negative. And I really say this is a very interesting conversation because it poses so many different questions, like some that we don't even have time in this video to fully touch on, like things like what makes substance positive or negative, right? Like when Wayne's rapping about his drug addiction, is he telling people to go do drugs or is he just documenting?
Actually, for, you know, just for research purposes, put it down in the comments who you think got substance in terms of in their music, right? Because I'm pretty sure people may just even coin Triple X and Tatiana to have had positive substance or substance at all. You know what I'm saying? Tell me what you think about, you know, Joe Budden. Like, what kind of substance are we talking about? And I feel like I could almost bet a lot that people, you know, may be like, yo, J. Cole got a proper substance. Kendrick, you know, that substance there. And so I'm starting to like get the picture that, yeah, maybe the whole substance conversation might lean towards, you know, your music having more social commentary, like people that, I mean, subject matter that affects people at a, you know, collective level, like societally, you know what I'm saying, politically maybe, right?
And really opening up about these struggles that he's endured. Hustler music, when he's talking about, you know, going out and getting it,
not just selfishly, right,
by any means necessary, can that be viewed as a violent call to action or as a motivational anthem for people who maybe grew up in similar conditions to, I'm assuming, a lot of Wayne's childhood friends in New Orleans or the, you know, hustlers that he was surrounded by at Cash Money Records?
Yeah.
With my daddy on my mind, how the hell you ain't here to see your prince do his thing? Sometimes I wanna drop a tip, but no emotions from a kid.
Come on, bro. This nigga
the same way when we look at 50's
career,
right? When you
like,
look,
this nigga got so many songs. What's that one even called, bro?
Look at Eminem's greatest years. There was a lot of struggle, a lot of pain in those lyrics, right? But that derived from real experiences in these rappers' lives. And it's a skill in and of itself to be able to document such dark moments or thoughts or stories in such a beautiful way. But back to Wayne and if, you know, he ever had substance or if he was a negative influence or not. See, why I had said it was a double-edged sword is because while Wayne definitely understood what it took to be the best rapper alive and had many, if not all, of the components of it, at the same time, at the height of his career, Wayne made it very clear that he did not intend on being a positive role model for anyone other than his 2 kids.
Do you ever think
he did say that?
God, I have a 10-year-old daughter.
And a 2-month-old son.
And did you ever think, am I a good role model? You know, am I a good example for people on how to live their lives?
I'm not an example for people on how to live their lives, and never in my life would I ever set out to be an example for people on how to live their lives. If you need an example for how to live, then you just shouldn't have been born. And I am a great role model because I'm only a role model for 2, and that's all. So won't you worry about yours and let them worry about theirs. I got mine.
Back when Wayne was brazen Wayne, man. Kind of callous. Didn't give a fuck. Narcissistic Wayne, man. Yeah, nah, this Wayne got the people going facts.
And on a side note, he now has 3 kids, and it does seem like he did an absolutely amazing job at being a positive role model towards them. It's insane to watch them on this podcast together. Like, they all kind of look like their own little version of Wayne, and you can tell they're very bright. Like, he definitely did a good job raising them.
Dog dad being Lil Wayne, was it hard making friends?
My first impression of school was difficult because like I would walk around and hear like, oh, that's Wade's son, and like I was little, so I didn't really get it and I didn't like it. But like once
Sorry. Oh, this nigga look like Baby Days, bro. Who thought it was Baby Days, bro? Your homework.
No, I didn't.
I loved it.
So,
well, yo, Baby Days,
I was like, yes,
son,
I am Lil Wayne's daughter. Yes, everybody, get the cameras out.
Now, if you ask me personally, I definitely think Wayne has substance, and just growing up as a kid listening to his music, there were a lot of positive elements that I took from it. Were there negative ones too? Absolutely. Did things go wrong at a certain point? Absolutely. But 3 decades in, we're all human, alright? There are going to be some mistakes along the way. And as someone, again, who was a child when Wayne was hitting his peak, buying the Carter 2 at like 9 years old.
Bro, another thing that I want to point out is the fact that, yo, like dropping your first album at 12, bro. Like, you know nothing outside of music at that point. You know nothing outside of just like these booths, these microphones, you know what I'm saying? These freaking fader controllers, analog, this, that, like, you know nothing outside of that. And look, niching, right, might have positive results, growing results. You might be the master of the niche that you're involved in, part of, pioneered, you know what I'm saying? But then, like, it keeps you stuck at that level, you know what I mean? Like, when it comes to maybe things that affect you economically, you know what I'm saying? Affect your pockets, affect you psychologically. Like, you don't dive into any other aspect of what can, you know, grow the mind, grow the psyche. You know what I'm saying? Grow the pockets, grow the family. You know what I mean? Or sustain the family. I mean, creating a family and growing the family. These are two different things. And we know that these artists and, you know, these superstars, these rappers, all they do is just like plant seeds, bro. They plant seeds, right? AKA they just like drop babies. Then they're on to the next one, on to the next one, on to the... Look, I'm not trying to, you know, insinuate anything negative about Wayne. But this is a reality, you know what I'm saying? You get like a motherfucker who got like different baby mamas and a whole bunch of kids from those different baby mamas. You know what I'm saying? So their reality is there. And we know that that doesn't grow families. That actually like that it breaks them apart. It gives opportunity for black, you know, strong families not to have a place to exist in the first place. Because now, you know, you are creating a whole bunch of single mothers. You know what I'm saying? You yourself are a single father who've created a whole bunch of different, various single mothers. And, you know, how's the future supposed to look out of that, right? And so, therefore, you know, growing a family and building one is so... Oh, but then that's because all you know, you're in this bubble of just like the music. Like, okay, I'm just like the superstar, I'm him. And Wayne was that kind of artist that like would stand on that, like, yo, best rapper alive, like, I'm him forever. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it was stamped, bro. It felt like it may just be forever. You know what I mean? But then now you're an old man, you know, life is demanding other things from you and shit, and all you know is this music. And I'm only talking from the perspective of just like what we know about Wayne online. Maybe he is insightful about a whole bunch of other things. Okay, I know he's involved in sports. You know what I'm saying? So maybe in the world of sports, world of getting active, maybe that would be close to closely related with maybe getting fit. You know what I'm saying? So maybe he's tapped into those kind of worlds. But yo, it's a big world, man. Gotta try a whole bunch of new things. You know what I'm saying? So yes, niching and doubling down on what you're trying to master and what you want to be good at is good, and focus and hyper focusing. It's good. It has its benefits, but now it just keeps you stuck in a bubble. That's the con. You know what I'm saying? Of which maybe a pro to being a jack of all trades and a master of none is that at least you got experience in all those other trades. Do your homework. At least you can, you know, you got some understanding. You can operate when life demands these other traits from you. Like, you can deliver. You feel me?
First CD I ever owned that could be played on my own time, paid for it by my own dime, all during Wayne's own prime. You'd be a bold line, old fried fool to think that listening to Wayne's output from those peak years, 06 to like 09, that you couldn't get as much positive as you could negative out of his catalog.
Oh, cool.
What up, though?
That's just my opinion, but hip-hop has kind of been turning on Wayne, and I don't think that's for no random reason at all. So we are going to play devil's advocate here and understand how we even got to the point where people are saying that this 30-plus year career spawned, like 90% negativity. So to understand, both sides of this coin, as someone who followed Wayne's career very, very closely, I do think that there was a period of time around 2012 where he got so rich off his music, off Drake and Nicki's music, coupled with the fact that he now had 3 kids to raise, and like he told you before, he wasn't trying to be a good role model to anyone except for them.
And I am a gangster. And I am a great role model because I'm only a role model for 2. And that's all.
It was really around 2012 where we saw Wayne really detach himself from any real public issues, tragedies, social injustices, politics. I mean, we saw that in Wayne's music, and we also saw that in interviews. It was ironically a reporter asking about Wayne's daughter, one of the only people in the world that Wayne cares to be a positive influence for, when he got triggered into saying what was probably the most negative thing he has maybe ever said in his entire career, which is when he basically completely dismissed the Black Lives Matter movement.
What's your thought on Black Lives Matter?
What is it? What do you mean?
The idea is that there's this movement called Black Lives Matter, thinking that the rest of America didn't seem to understand that.
Just sounds weird. I didn't know that you put a name on it. It's not a whatever. It's somebody got shot by police for a reason. I am a young, black, rich. If that don't let you know that America understand Black matter these days, I don't know what it is. Don't come at me with that dumb man. My life matters, especially to my I don't feel connected to a damn thing that ain't got nothing to do with me.
Hey, wait, dog, what? Yeah, I can see how that may have came off distasteful. Shit.
To further emphasize how sheltered
get out of here with that dumb shit
and luxurious the lifestyle Wayne was living at the time, and how detached he was from what was going on in the real world.
I think that's the word, detach. It's detachment.
I believe it was in that same year that he did another interview where he said that based on white people's reception towards his music, it had led him to believe that there was no such thing as racism.
Where are we in the United States of America in race relations?
They wouldn't want to ask me that. They wouldn't want my answer to represent it because I have never dealt with racism. And I'm glad I didn't have to. Not only did I thought it was over, I still believe it's over.
Yeah, well, I feel like we can chalk it up to the fact that, Wayne was at the phase of his career and success where it's like, okay, he's still not aware. Like, his self-awareness he was lacking in self-awareness. Like, you're like a superstar now in the world, and you still gonna talk like, yeah, well, it doesn't affect me. As long as it doesn't affect me, like, what, is it a problem now? It's like, bro, you live in a world that is, more of this world has their eye on you. Yeah, no, I feel like it was a thing of, at least have consideration for what's going on in it, with it, aka the people that, like, have their eyes on you. A whole lot of them are black, and a whole lot of them would, like, be like, yeah, like, these, race relations are affecting us negatively, blah, blah, blah. At least know, so, like, but that's what I'm saying, though. The Paris socialism was crazy. During these times, crazy.
But obviously, it is. When I look out and I come up off the stage, when I'm coming out the bottom of the stage of my show, when I'm on tour, and I open my eyes and I see everybody. I don't have this type of crowd or that type. My crowd has always been everybody. Thank God.
I shot myself. Police knocked on the door. I was right there. Everybody jumped over my body to go get the guns and drugs, whatever they could find. It took one guy to stop and cuss everybody that hopped over me out. Like, what the f are y'all doing? Do you not see this kid on the floor with this hole in his chest? Say, you drive. Pick me up. Brought me to the hospital. He brought me to the hospital room. He was white as snow. Them that hopped over me was blacker than me. My life was saved by a white man. I don't know what racism is. I know a good name Uncle Bob, though.
Look, and I can feel that. Like, I can feel the whole... it's like, I can only share my experience, and this is what happened. But then we gotta understand that at the same time, when people, would consider the whole, black people are affected like this, like that, like, it wasn't like every black human being is experiencing this. And I mean, there were like exceptions where you'd have the white man come and help you out, and you know, be of benefit and convenience to your life at the moment. You know, you might do that to like a white kid or whatever, white lady, whatever, being a black man, you know. So I get the angle where he was chopping it up and saying like, yo, like in terms of my life, yo, let me tell you about my shit. Like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Like the man that saved me from bullet holes was the white guy. You feel what I mean? But I feel like, yo, you know, that whole PR training, doesn't that whole PR training involve like you being aware of your image though, right? Your reputation. Like the Lil Wayne, who is in this interview? Is it Lil Wayne or is it Dwayne, you know, Carter? Is it what, Dwayne Sean Carter? I don't know. But is it Dwayne or is it Lil Wayne, the superstar? Right? It's Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne is the public figure. Lil Wayne got to be tapped into the public and what's going on with it. Dwayne Carter got these experiences that are isolated, subjective. And that's cool. That was your life. We appreciate it. We respect it. It's what, you know, it's the result that gave us Wayne. But Wayne got to also grow, right? Wayne got to also get tapped in to what affects his image and the people that like make his image.
And I'll give you guys this, like, after the Carter 4, if you want to say that the substance in Wayne's music fell off a cliff after that, or that like 90% of the subject matter in his music after the Carter 4 was negative, I can maybe agree with you there. Like, again, this guy being the best rapper alive to me for so many years, it was very hard for me to defend I'm Not a Human Being 2 when highlights off the project included My Tongue is a Uzi, My D is an AK, or Dedication 5. After, you know, Dedication 2, we start hearing bars like Had a phone in jail, that's a cell phone. But to me, this was far after his prime, and in this period, I get it. This is when we started getting a lot more, you know, kitty cat talk from Wayne in the music.
Yeah.
Spicy. But this was really new in 2012. Like, he was never talking about the P word this much in his music until I'm Not a Human Being 2. Like, yeah, he had the occasional song, you know, P word monster, but ironically, I had the version of the Carter 3 that had the song Playing with Fire. Drop a comment if you remember that song. So that song was actually an interpolation of a Rolling Stones song called Play with Fire, and they actually got sued for that song being on the Carter 3, so they replaced it with P-Word Monster. So as a kid, I never even heard that P-Word Monster song. I've heard people point to that song as a prime example of Wayne, you know, not really talking about much, but the irony is that the P-Word song replaced Playing with Fire, which is a song that has one of Wayne's most heartfelt, darkest performances in his entire career. Rapping bars like forced into evil, it's all in your head, it's also cerebral, call me Knievel, you follow and I lead you straight to the needles, the bottles, the battles, the Beatles will eat you, mama named Sita, I love you Sita, remember when your P-word second husband tried to beat you, remember when I went into the kitchen, got the cleaver, he ain't give a F, I ain't give a F either, he could see the devil in my features, he could smell the ether, but you can see Sita in my features and she don't play neither. That was a little tangent to highlight and emphasize what I said before, in that if you weren't following Wayne's career really closely, then you would have probably heard P-Word Monster instead of bars like this, right? And that's actually a repeated theme in a lot of aspects of Wayne's career that we'll touch on shortly. But let's go back to 2012, because again, this is when I still loved Wayne's music, just for different reasons, right? I would have never defended him as still having that best rapper alive title by 2012, because just the bare subject matter that he brought forth didn't merit that compared to, you know, let's say a Kendrick Lamar who had just dropped Good Kid, Mad City. I don't even think he was comparing to like a Kanye or a Jay-Z, who at that same period of time were...
Then again, like at that time, like one of his sons, one of his seeds was eclipsing him, right? Drake was going crazy, but 2012's in them, oh yeah, Drake was also pulling up heavy.
Kind of in the later stages of their careers. But with Wayne, it's interesting because even when, in my opinion, the subject matter kind of took a nosedive with that I'm Not a Human Being 2 and all the P-word bars that came with it, this is around the time when Wayne becomes more impactful and influential than ever before, right? And a lot of people will say that it's not just the subject matter in the music that's negative, but it's also the influence he had on the culture that was negative, right? The excessive lean drinking, walking around with the double cup everywhere, the tattoos all over your face, that makes it hard to get, a corporate job. The excessive weed smoking, the excessive auto-tune. Okay, you could look at that as all negatives, but even by this point when Wayne is past his primes, there are still a lot of positives that I believe he contributed to not just hip-hop, but the world in general. I mean, I think he made the youth more inspired to skateboard during his whole truck fit era. He was literally building skate parks in his hometown.
I mean, us as New Orleanians, we looked at it as just another hurricane. It wasn't. It wasn't just another hurricane. Now I built a skate park there. In the neighborhood, I built it in the neighborhood that was hit the hardest. To give them something to do.
If anything represents hope, this does it in a huge way.
I looked out the window and there was a bunch of kids with skateboards saying, can we come in? I know for a fact that 6 months ago, that kid didn't know what a skateboard did look like anything.
I think, like Wayno put it, Young Money kind of aged like milk, but if you look at their overall contribution to hip-hop, I still think that's a net positive, right? I think Nicki Minaj hitting the commercial heights that she did and standing her ground on records with legends like Jay-Z and Kanye West really laid the groundwork, the blueprint or the pink print, the foundation, and kicked the doors down for the next generation of female artists to hit heights that we hadn't really seen before Nicki. Cardi B, Lotto, Megan Thee Stallion, whoever, I think they're able to be looked at in the same category as, a lot of the biggest male MCs today because...
Yeah, a whole lot of Young Money, bro. A whole lot of Young Money did initiate a lot of, the energy that would make hip-hop what it is. You know what I'm saying? Look at what even Drake initiated and people that, imitated his sound. The rap singing style. You know what I'm saying? We got a whole lot of impactful artists that just derive their shit from a Drake. You know what I mean? As he's breaking down Nicki right now. Nicki, a whole lot of these female rappers, bro, it's worth than Nicki, facts. You know what I'm saying? Wayne himself, a whole bunch of there's this negative of a narrative around Wayne's name, but it's the man did what he did. He influenced people in the way that he did, and it's no way around it. It's a fact. You understand what I'm saying? So a whole bunch of Young Money, bro. I feel like more of their work, you know what I'm saying? More of their God's work type contribution was to lay out. It was to blaze trails. That's a fact, bro. Give birth to a whole bunch of mini thems. You know what I'm saying?
Of the foundation Nicki laid. I could be wrong on that. I don't think I am. And then with Drake, I mean, there's some negatives you could say in terms of how he
study rap battles for a living.
There's some negatives you could say in terms of how he kind of set this standard within hip hop, at least from the label's perspective, that you're not really an asset to them if you don't know how to sing as well. And because of the incorporation of these melodies, lyrics kind of took a backseat in mainstream hip hop for a while, but at the same time, you do have
word to the sponsors real quick. I gotta duck out real quick. Hello.
Stoic in principle, free in the physical. Growing pains my agitation, so caring reciprocal. You my sibling just because your birth was a miracle. Even my sisters know that I'm cynical. Yeah, I know that I'm a hard one to deal with. Fighting with no weapon, I'm a carved one to kill with. Marching with no movement, I'm a start one to heal with. I'm just mad reactive, but my heart ain't with the drill shit. Can't wait to grow out of this revenge sweet as honey and peaches to me. Free the magazine to dump on enemies, cause buddy, you can't do me wrong, then live to tell the reasons. I mean, this shit ain't sweet pea till life humble me from the sea, yeah. Mercurial blood vessels, my skin do shine. The sun of the god it under my home is the skies. The eye to on you boys, I ain't telling no lie. Yeah, lie. Tell me once, can't never fool me again. Don't hate the messenger, man, hate the same. When one thing about facts is when they hit you, feel no pain. When you swear it's about that shit that made these bitches go insane. Simping niggas most neglected, these my broskies, I'm just saying. Get the fuck up off her ass, making us look bad for my age. Of Aquarius, air, stop comparing this. Too mysterious, who the fuck on periods? Yeah, come back various, yeah, shit on your areas. Cause ain't nobody bearing this like, we too inferior. Don't try, mister, I can't sleep till my brother's alright. Fuck it, can't be me, niggas dummy on side. Now it's time to eat, fellas, leave me online. But I just want her box, merry-go-round. Ain't mercurial blood vessels, my skin do shine. The sun of the god, it thunder, my home is the sky. So I don't argue with niggas, you pay no mind. Heard me pack on you boys, I ain't telling no. Yeah, stoic in principle, free in the physical. Growing pains my agitation, so caring reciprocal. You my sibling just because your birth was a miracle. Even my sisters know that I'm cynical. Yeah, I know that I'm a hard one to deal with. Fighting with no weapon, I'm a carved one to kill with. Marching with no movement, I'm a start one to heal with. I'm just mad reactive, but my heart ain't with the drill shit. Can't wait to grow out of this revenge, sweet as honey and peaches to me. Free the magazine to dump on enemies, cause buddy, you can't do me wrong, then live to tell. Sweet pea till I humble me from the sea, yeah.
Alright, kicking it off with the man that once put a stamp on the fact that he is the greatest rapper of all time. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I feel like, you know, back when he used to claim these things, right? It was pretty much, it felt solid. It felt like something that would be immovable, unchangeable. You know what I'm saying? But now in an age where digital footprint can age, you know what I'm saying? Y'all tell me, do y'all think the statements of him being the greatest rapper of all time, Lil Wayne that is, come on, you know, we're talking about Lil Wayne, by the way, do you think, you tell me whether it aged properly or it aged you know, badly, right? The whole statement of him being a legend. Well, okay, legendary status, I don't think we can take that away from the man, but I'm not gonna lie, whatever he went through, I mean, that biggest, you know, experience that brought significant transformation in Wayne's journey. You know what I'm saying? His whole little thing with the record label he was signed with, that whole thing, I think it changed a lot of people's POV on Wayne, right? Let's see how that turned out.
I I'm just mad reactive, but my heart ain't with the drill shit. Can't wait to grow out of this rip that is sweet as honey and peaches to me. Freedom magazine to dump on enemies, cause buddy, you can't do me wrong, then live to tell the reasons. I mean, this shit ain't sweet pea till life humble me from the sea. Yeah, mercurial blood vessels, my skin do shine.
Have to look at the positives as well. Drake, being from Canada, broke a lot of records that Canadian rappers had never really seen, right? I mean, not to get on too far of a tangent here, but before Drake, it was Cardinal Offishall who had the, highest charting song in the US from a Canadian rapper of all time, and Drake, within his second year in the game, pretty much beat that record. And then of course he never looked back.
Yo, shout out to all the 12-year-olds in the building. What's up?
Damn.
And just like Nicki, who I feel like helped.
What was that about? Wait, that's AI, right? Wait, that's AI, right?
Helped female MCs be taken more seriously as a whole.
Yo, shout out to all the 12-year-olds in the building. What's up?
And just like Nicki, who I feel like helped female MCs be taken more seriously as a whole, I feel like Drake definitely helped Canada be taken more seriously as a whole as well, right? I mean, don't forget, he also gave us The Weeknd and Party Next Door. Who knows where they would be if Drake hadn't, taken a lot of their music and put it on his own albums early on in their careers.
Spicy.
All right, guys, so very long tangent, all just to say that I do think Young Money was definitely a net positive on music as a whole. And that was, of course, all conceived and executed by Lil Wayne. And it's here again when I'm talking about, after Wayne's prime. During Wayne's prime, I'll defend it every day that there was a lot of positive messaging within his music. After his prime, I think you have to dig deeper into the influence that he had on the game to really see where he did truly have his positive impact. So that's kind of what we're doing here. Because you also have to look at the fact that once Wayne kind of, I don't want to say fell off, because still, again, as an MC, technically he's still an incredible lyricist, but again, once he really kind of came home from Rikers Island, kind of got a lot more sheltered, rich, you could kind of start saying the substance wasn't as prevalent in the music at that point.
What up, though?
Hello, Easy, welcome home. And I'm a blunt blowing, polo draw showing.
But at that same point, you can't take away from the positive impact.
Damn, I thought that voice was AI, bro. He really was generating that voice off of his own self. Crazy
impact that Wayne had during this period, right? I mean, every great of the generation after Wayne took something from him. Future, you're not going to tell me that Future's sound wasn't an evolution of a blueprint that Wayne created? Then on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, you had guys like Mac Miller, legendary, rest in peace. He had said that in 2012 he wanted Wayne. This is again Wayne after his prime, when you're getting a lot of P-word talk. Mac Miller specifically wanted him on a song where Wayne wasn't just, talking his crap, but instead getting introspective, because Mac said that his favorite type of Wayne was that introspective, deep, emotional Wayne.
Bro, and I saw, oh my god, there it is again. I see Corday, bro, got a version of Wayne. What do you think? What version of Wayne do you think he got? Right? Yeah, tapped out, aloof Wayne.
So, like I told
you, think it feels the same as, told
you guys before in this video, if you were following Wayne's career very closely, you were a real diehard fan of his, then you were well aware that there were plenty songs in his catalog full of substance.
I've never been one for features. I've never had that on my project. That's never been a part of my career. It's cosigns and things like that. But I remember just being like, yo, this project, I really want Wayne on it. I was like, I just want him on it. I just think that me and him would make a dope song. And
is that Delusional
I
Thomas?
didn't want to get him on some swag shit, with him just rapping and talking shit and stunting. My favorite Wayne is introspective Wayne. It's talking about some shit. But no matter how deep he goes, or just him slowing down for a little bit and just talking. So I was like, I need to do a jam like that. So I'm making a song and I'm like, this is perfect for him.
And it wasn't just rappers from the later generation. You had rappers that came before Wayne, like Eminem, who had said that Wayne's verses on Mona Lisa, which is a song, again, released 5-6 years past his prime, deserved to be in the Hall of Fame for some of the greatest verses of all time.
Never got a chance to tell you, but yo, Mona Lisa,
yeah,
your 2 verses on that shit gotta be it's gotta be one of the top 5 verses of all time. It's definitely an art to this. and man, you got it mastered, and you've
likewise.
I mean,
man.
you've had it mastered, but
Man, likewise, man.
What about what Andre 3000 had to say about Wayne? The rap game has to save itself. Everybody's saving it. People like Lil Wayne are saving it. He's bringing energy to it. And in terms of Wayne saving hip-hop, like Andre 3000 said, I think that's no more evident than the influence that he had on the next generation. I mean, you had guys like A$AP Rocky saying...
On a lot of generations. Right? A multi-generation.
Are we forgetting that Wayne made everyone switch up their flow and start using the E's and the R's, like I'm irregular, segular? Like, come on, are we forgetting that Wayne changed hip-hop too? Are we forgetting that he made all these mother effers want to have tattoos? Are we forgetting that? This is the guy who went from being the underdog in his crew to saving his company. And
yeah, he did trailblaze the whole face tat thing, man. Yeah, no, that one was clearly Wayne, facts.
Saving his daddy, Birdman. I'm not a effing Lil Wayne D-Rider. I'm just speaking facts. Wayne is one of the greatest of all time. You also had Big Sean say that Lil Wayne changed the game and isn't just someone that he listened to heavily or viewed as a rap legend, but also someone that you gotta look up to. Chance the Rapper said Lil Wayne is probably the biggest reason why I'm even rapping right now. Then you got a completely different style of artist in Chief Keef, who had said that he had quote-unquote never had the words like Lil Wayne, but he always said his whole life that he was gonna be just like Wayne.
What up, though?
Isaiah Rashad lists Wayne as one of his greatest influences. J. Cole was studying Wayne before his prime in the 03 Squad Up days. Jay Electronica was flabbergasted at the whole game becoming Wayne clones. Kanye West called Lil Wayne the #1 rapper in the world on multiple occasions and praised his work ethic. That was another massively positive inspiration that I feel like Wayne brought to the game, even years removed from his prime, even to this day, was that insane drive that he had to continue going, to continue getting better technically as an MC. That work ethic to put out mixtape after mixtape, that drive was not lost on any of your favorite rappers, including Kendrick Lamar, who literally has an entire early mixtape completely dedicated to remixing Lil Wayne's The Carter 3, from the album cover to the actual instrumentals to the flows and cadences and voices that he's using on there. I mean, I don't need to dive too deep into it because I'm sure if you guys have been following the channel, you've seen how many times Kendrick Lamar has spoken incredibly highly of Wayne, literally saying, I would say I was influenced by a certain sound and flow and cadence that Wayne...
Bro, I remember, nigga, Kendrick Lamar, they come from a point where, I think it was J-Rock, the #1 artist that TDE was pushing at the time. Right, J-Rock, he was the one who was meant to have the feature with Wayne. I remember Kendrick was like, yo, they was going crazy about that shit. It was like, yo, you got the feature with Wayne, that means we all won, bro. Like, peoples, they were looking up to Wayne so much. I mean, Kendrick got the whole, the C4 recreation. I think is it C4 or C5? I think it was from the C4, and he titled his C5, right? Kendrick, right? He had the similar cover art to it, the same way Wayne had the cover art. Like, Wayne, bro, I feel like it's a whole bunch of artists that you wouldn't think were influenced by Wayne, being influenced by Wayne. People who are like deep and, you know, introspective, like they too saw Wayne as somebody like, yo, this guy is a gem. Well, at the time that they were seeing him as that, right? Because as I said, bro, like, Wayne has been in the game for long enough of a time where, you know, different pockets of people can consider him having had substance, bro. Whatever that substance would mean to them, Wayne has touched on that. Even though you may, you know, to you it's like, nah, Wayne is like, he's a trivial guy, bro. He talks about nothing. It's like, nah. He talks about nothing but like shallow ass things. You know what I'm saying? You see it as that, but how he delivers it, like, you know, it may speak to somebody who, you know, your favorite rapper who may be deep as fuck right now. But, you know, they got something from Wayne. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like for the most part, we're just here gathered to understand the disrespect that's unwarranted that Wayne is actually, you know, having to undergo these days. This is crazy.
Wayne brought to the game. Lil Wayne is a legend. People forget a lot of the work he put in. What he's done for hip-hop culture is phenomenal.
This was K-Dot saying this.
One of the most influential artists of this generation, and he's still hungry. KRS-One called Wayne the greatest rapper of all time.
And KRS-One, and he's another OG of old, like a legend of old. And this is like underground type rap, right?
Kweli spoke directly to the lack of substance narrative that has been floating around really now for like almost 2 decades, right? What's crazy is in 2008, during Wayne's prime, you could go on YouTube and find people saying the same thing that they're saying about Wayne today. And Talib Kweli, who is probably known first and foremost for the substance and message he brings behind his music, he was even defending Wayne's pen, saying, I don't care what nobody said, that guy studies hip-hop. If he didn't, he wouldn't have Kanye West on his album. He wouldn't have signed Corey Guns. He wouldn't have came up to me.
Damn, another thing, he has worked with the entire hip-hop industry, right? Almost. With everybody. He's worked with everybody. Huh.
Me and say, Kweli, I F with you. And he wouldn't have done a song called...
He got a song with YoungBoy? Like, I'm literally looking at the videos that, you know, my algorithm is suggesting to me, and I'm thinking like, yo, he's collaborated with this guy, right? He's collaborated with this guy. Wait, does he have a feature with Joe Budden? YoungBoy, I'm seeing YoungBoy. I'm like, he has a feature with Triple X and Tentacion. Wait, let me find out if he has a feature with. Bro, if he has features with these 2 guys that I'm about to like confirm, Wayne worked with the whole game. That's a fact.
Hey there, Sizway.
Yeah, co-pilot. Does Lil Wayne have a feature with Joe Budden?
Lil Wayne does not have a feature with Joe Budden.
Oh,
While Joe Budden has commented on Lil Wayne's recent album and discussed it on his podcast, there's no collaboration or track where they perform together.
I'm tripping. I had to go back. I get it. I had to go back.
Okay, so he doesn't have. He's never worked with Joe Budden. Who's the other cat?
I'm tripping. I had to go back.
Who's the other cat? YB. See if he's worked with YB.
Hey there, Sizway.
Yeah, co-pilot, has Lil Wayne ever worked with NBA YoungBoy?
Yes, they have. Lil Wayne worked with NBA YoungBoy on a track called My Window, which was released in 2020. The song is part of NBA YoungBoy's album Top, and it even went platinum.
Alright, cool. So, okay, he's worked with YB. Okay, let's go and chalk it up to the fact that he's worked with literally 99.9999999% of the game, right?
Dr. Carter, again, the same
he's
song
been
I mentioned
around
before, which is one of the greatest songs I have ever heard. Any MCs in the house, if you have not made a record as dope as Dr. Carter, shut the F up when you're talking about Wayne. Any MCs in the house, if you ever said a line as dope as real G's move in silence like lasagna, shut the F up talking about Wayne. Okay, so I think that's enough, evidence to prove that while hip-hop fans might not want to acknowledge it, the foundational artists of the genre have all embraced Wayne as having not just an immense influence, but also a positive influence on hip-hop. And I didn't even get to like the late 2010 rappers, right? Like that whole crop of artists who really were direct Wayne clones. Everyone from Young Thug to Trippie Redd to Lil Uzi, Gunna, Lil Baby, Playboy Cardi, NBA Youngboy. Like, come on guys, what are we doing here?
What up, though? One time way back, I was talking about you in the interview and I said I know Lil Wayne inspired him. Yeah. You know how people take it the wrong way. I never meant it disrespectful. When I see you, I show you nothing but love. We Rock Nation, we family.
Well, of course, bro. You already know. You a great influencer. I look up to you, bro. I saw you every day on TV when I was growing up. That was like every day. So, of course, I never took that as any offense or any disrespect. Honestly, if you want me to be honest, like, look at me. Look at me. Like, that's honestly an honor for you to say something.
I look like Lil Wayne. Look at me.
like that.
I get it.
I'm giving that, like it is that. So it's just like, what can I say? Like, what can I say about that? Like, it's look at me, bro. Just look at me and what you see.
Yo, Lil Uzi Vert. You can tell this nigga was training his whole life to be like, he's like, nigga, look at me. Like, bro, look at me, bro. It's nothing you can say about, like, I can, like, he's almost giving, like, yo, saying, bro, I can argue against being influenced by Wayne, but bro, look at me, bro. Like look at, like, the look is not even gonna save me. My look would not save me if I tried to attempt to argue against the fact that Wayne might have influenced me. I don't even gotta say shit, bro. Like, you see it. You know what I'm saying? Yo, you see it. Bro, look at me, bro.
I'm giving that, like it is that.
Giving
so just
that,
like,
like,
what can I say? Like, what can I say about that? Like, it's look at me, bro.
Surrender,
just look at me.
look
What
at
you see. I learned Lil Wayne. I wanted to be Lil Wayne. I would talk when I was younger. Girls would say I look like Lil Wayne, so I would run with that. And I would wear the fedoras, and I would wear the tight polo tees with the skinnies, and wear the Vans and shit. And back then, you know what's crazy? This is why my parents on my ass that much. Back then, I ordered a fake piercing off of Amazon, and it was a magnet, and I had it right here, and I used to wear it every day like I was Lil Wayne.
And look, like, you could kind of say this is off topic, like, oh, yes, Rapaholics, we get it, you like Lil Wayne, and so do all these other artists, and they took a lot of influence from him. It doesn't mean that his music was majority positive. And again, to keep playing devil's advocate, you could say, okay, maybe it wasn't Wayne's, subject matter that influenced a Kendrick Lamar to really dive deep into societal, political, and personal issues. Yeah. Maybe you could say the same for Drake. Maybe he was inspired to do that from Kanye West, right? Maybe you could say that, a lot of the guys who Wayne directly influenced actually brought a net negative to the genre, like a Young Thug or Lil Uzi or Gunna, if you want to talk about, them kind of ushering in that mumble rap sort of sound. I would disagree, but, there are people out there who say that, the influence that Wayne brought, while it was immense, it wasn't necessarily positive. And you know what? Fine. If that's what you want to believe, that's all right. But don't forget that we have only been taking a look at everything surrounding Wayne's career and his music from like 2011, 2012 and onward, right? This is when Wayne, maybe wasn't offering as much subject matter wise. But now let's take a look at his prime.
Hey, like this one, Rapaholics. What's your obsession with this sound, with this effect right here?
Let's take a look actually at the tail end of his prime. The final track off his magnum opus, The Carter 3. Yeah, I know some people will say The Carter 2 is better. It's up for debate, but that's a story for another video. See, I think if Wayne was on social media and actually did see any of the discourse surrounding his name right now, his response would be the outro that he performed on the outro track of The Carter 3, Don't Get It. See, going back to that story, I told you guys earlier in this video how, the first CD I bought was The Carter 2. From there, I was following Wayne religiously. He wasn't my introduction to hip-hop, but he was the first artist that I really felt like that deep, I guess, attachment to. That kind of sounds a little funky to say, but you guys know what I mean, right? Like, the internet was on the rise at this time. Lil Wayne had all these leaked records.
Everybody was on Wayne, bro. Everybody was on Wayne.
Leaked mixtapes, crazy feature runs. He's everywhere on the radio and on the internet. So, like, I'm witnessing this as a kid, right? In awe. I don't even think I had Wi-Fi at the time. It was like an Ethernet cable plugged into a computer that you then had to, like, plug in your iPod, like, to sync into the computer with iTunes to download your songs. It was like a whole mess. Anyways, a lot of tangents in this video because I'm kind of going down a little nostalgia trip, but one thing that really stuck with me around this time, right, following Wayne's career, was that outro on the track Don't Get It, because as some at the time, like 11-year-old sheltered kid from Canada, this Wayne interlude taught me more about racial inequality within America and within the prison system than I had ever learned from any history class, any book, anything at the time. On the track, Wayne's reacting to this TV segment he saw on the news about racial disparities in incarceration, highlighting how black Americans, especially young men, are disproportionately jailed, often for crack cocaine offenses tied to heavy policing in poor neighborhoods. He argues that it would cost less to just send them to college. He questions the drug laws and why low-level offenders fill prisons instead of violent criminals, and expresses concerns as a father about S-offenders living in communities. Like, I vividly remember listening to this outro as a kid, being mind-blown by the way that Wayne kind of ties in the whole duality behind the fact that if you come from a low-income neighborhood, odds are there's going to be a higher police presence, which will lead to more arrests being made, typically for low-level crime that was committed as a means to escape the poverty. Meanwhile, you have real offenders, in Wayne's view, not proportionally represented properly in these prisons, but unlike the guy selling crack, these S-offenders did not have to sell illegal narcotics to make their way into higher income neighborhoods. And he finishes that segment off saying, "The reason why he lives next door to me ain't the reason why I live next door to him," meaning he didn't rap his way to get to my effing neighborhood. He sold crack to get to my neighborhood. You move him out, bring him to jail for life, and then you move in the S-offender. Then give me a paper saying he's a S-offender. Is that a misunderstanding? Because I don't understand it. And I said that this would probably be Wayne's response to all the discourse going on around him today, not because this, little outro here is proof that Wayne most definitely does touch on heavy concepts.
What is it?
But it's actually where Wayne takes this outro next that I feel would be the exact same response we would see Wayne give his critics today. See, he directs his attention to Mr. Al Sharpton, who is a civil rights activist and radio talk show host. At the time, he had been, quote-unquote, leading marches against the use of the N-word, the B-word, and H-words, and had even said after Wayne released this song that it's not worth dignifying a response to one rap artist who, quote-unquote, doesn't even say anything substantive. The exact same thing we're hearing today, right? 18 years ago, even during Wayne's peak, you had guys like Al Sharpton saying that Wayne wasn't saying anything of substance. But he definitely packed some pretty substantial bars for Mr. Sharpton on this record. See?
And he had a whole lot of fans, though. For somebody who's not saying anything. Had much of a cult following, especially in his prime.
Because Wayne shifts from discussing systemic issues to a personal critique of Al Sharpton. He says he doesn't respect Sharpton because he believes Al Sharpton represents a type of public figure who criticizes and quote-unquote speculates before they informate, meaning that they form public opinions about people without first trying to understand them directly. And Wayne frames this as a failure of quote-unquote good humanity. He argues that criticizing someone without attempting dialogue reflects bad character traits, even if it doesn't automatically make someone a bad person. Now, Wayne acknowledges himself that all humans are both good and bad, including himself, admitting that some of the things he says and does might be bad.
But I feel like, see, the Wayne dilemma is the fact that I elaborated on this a little earlier, the fact that there's a Lil Wayne and then there's Mr. Dwayne, right? Dwayne Carter, right? So Lil Wayne, bro, he is known by the industry. He's tapped in with the industry. The industry is what they connect with when they connect to you, right? Not Dwayne Carter. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like, especially with Al Sharpton over here, he came from the angle of being like, actually Al Sharpton was criticizing the Lil Wayne, the one that's supposed to be, PR trained and to be tapped into the sensitivities of the environment, the greater environment at large, everything that affects the whole collective. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't even talk about nothing. You know what I mean? Because he's not hearing these things that affect a whole collective as a whole, like in terms of politically or whatever the fuck, economically or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And so therefore, when Wayne would address Sharpton, he would address him as, Dwayne Carter instead of Lil Wayne. Maybe Dwayne Carter did have a whole lot of substance. That's why you could see, some glimpses of depth in his music. That's because he was bringing Dwayne Carter, instead of Lil Wayne. I don't know if y'all understand what I'm talking about. So I feel like, a whole lot of PR training misconstruings, right, had to do with just like how Wayne would handle this whole thing of like, is he an artist of substance or not? Everybody got substance. You know what I'm saying? Everybody can connect to a sense of substance, seeing it from someone else. You know what I mean? It's just what version of that it is to you.
Or just quote unquote not too good. But Wayne says he himself tries to at least stay on the good side, implying that Al Sharpton does not make that same effort. He compares Al Sharpton to Don King, implying that guys who are criticizing Wayne, similar to Al Sharpton, are really just kind of media-driven, performative, self-promotional, lacking the moral weight or the, as Wayne put it, quote-unquote good humanity of earlier civil rights activists like Jesse Jackson or Martin Luther King. And overall, Wayne's point is not just political, but it's also personal to him. He's rejecting the public judgment from people who don't know him, and he's asserting that outside criticism is ultimately meaningless to him if you're not going to try to understand him. And he ends off this entire project by embracing being misunderstood, reinforcing his belief that people like Al Sharpton miscategorize him without truly understanding where he comes from, which, as he puts it, is a guy living in the suburbs who came from the hood. So I just thought this song definitely was a powerful statement to encapsulate a lot of the criticisms Wayne's faced with today. I think he left out a key part in that he's not just, a guy who came from the hood and is now living in the suburbs. He's a guy who has been rapping professionally for 30 plus years, surrounded by studios and record label executives since he was like 12 years old, right? It's going to be hard for Wayne to relate to the world and for the world to relate to Wayne. But does that mean there's no substance in his music? Does that mean we should look at his catalog as an overall net negative?
There has been substance in the music. That's what I'm saying.
Negative to the influence that it had on the next generation? I mean, guys, Wayne put out his first solo album, I think the year I was born. And even on projects like that, when Wayne was just about 15 or 16 years old, he still had highly meaningful songs like F the World. The year after that, on his second album, Lights Out, he had songs like Everything, where he reflects on his stepfather who he just lost.
I know I can't be close to you, Pop, I know you watching over me, Pop, I know.
On the Carter 1, he gives us one of the best breakup songs of all times with Miss My Dogs, reflecting on the group members that he just lost. On the Carter 2, we Get Over, where he reflects on more loved ones that he's lost. On Dedication 2, we get Georgia Bush, where he reflects on the structure of his city being lost. Even as late as the Carter 5, you had extremely heartfelt songs like Open Letter or Let It All Work Out, where Wayne reflects on how he was almost lost. His life was almost lost. Now, remember how earlier in this video I mentioned, like, a big reason why, casual Wayne fans might not realize he has a lot of music with a lot of substance is because a lot of his hardest hitting records are almost like lost media at this point, right? I told you guys about how the song Playing with Fire was replaced by P-Word Monster, which kind of fits the irony of this entire debate. But it goes a lot further than that. See, for the Carter 3, when Wayne was really at his peak lyrically, in my opinion, around 2007, he was recording what was supposed to be the original version of the Carter 3, and the entire thing basically got leaked. Like 40 plus songs, some of Wayne's best material, all scattered throughout the internet. This is really when I started going down the Wayne rabbit hole. I was like 10 years old for this.
This was the drought songs?
This, in my opinion, is where we got Wayne's best written music of all time. Or not written, since he doesn't write things down. But you go and look at songs like Trouble, music. Cry Out, Something You Forgot.
Something You Forgot was mad deep, man. I remember Something You Forgot.
Government still quitting on us. Lost a few homies and the grief still sitting on us. So we got their names written on us. White folks still spitting on us. And them bitch police K9s T still gritting on us.
These were supposed to be the Carter 3, and I guarantee you, if the original Carter 3 actually ended up releasing, the discussion around Wayne would be a lot different. Because aside from the, quote-unquote no substance criticism, the next biggest criticism that Wayne gets is that he's never put out a classic album, right? He doesn't have a College Dropout or a Get Rich or Die Trying. This original Carter 3, it would have been that. I mean, even what was supposed to be the first single of the Carter 3, La La, not the one that ended up making it on the Carter 3. There was a second, completely different song, also called La La. And that song definitely had substance to it. And that was supposed to be the first single off the Carter 3. It was songs like this, songs like his mixtape cuts like The Sky's the Limit, feature verses like We Taking Over. It was all of these things combined that made the world believe that Wayne was the best rapper alive. The problem is that when you look back today, almost 20 years later, a lot of that material, a lot of those factors that again made Wayne the best rapper are now lost media. And because of the recency bias that a lot of people have, we don't remember this time. We don't remember this material. There were thousands of Wayne songs leaking back then. So was there a ton of stuff?
Shit, I guess that, that whole, you know what I'm saying? You know, I don't know if it's 15 minutes of fame. These niggas want 16 hours of fame, goddamn. You know what I'm saying? But his 15 minutes of fame, like, this whole thing affects people in, ways that do age terribly, right? Because having leaked those and, having leaked the tracks with, like, much substance, right? Replacing those with, the shallow materialistic things and all of that. I feel like that came from the pressure of, I am in the limelight. Let me excite the crowd, bro. Let me not relate with them. Let me just excite them, aka give them songs for the moment. Give them songs like in the clubs. Wayne was going crazy in clubs, you know what I'm saying? Things like where you don't need to put out tracks that have somebody listening like introspectively. You understand what I'm saying? And so, damn, he had that pressure where it's like, I don't think these are gonna cut it. I feel like he felt like, I don't think these are gonna cut it. And sometimes it's the label themselves, like I believe, allegedly in my opinion. I believe it's the label themselves, bro, that be leaking the material that, we were supposed to, drop or whatever. Maybe through third parties or whatever like that, right? They leak their own songs. And to believe that a whole bunch of songs, like songs that many, oh shit, it was them themselves, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. But then now because now that says something, to replace those songs with like depth and all that consciousness and substance, replacing those with, songs like the P Word Monster. You know what I'm saying? Like that's kind of ignorant. You know what I mean? And at this point it was deliberate, but then now look at how it ages, dog. It was the whole thing of like, relevance. Let me put it like that. Relevance. Needing to stay relevant. My album needs to relate and excite the people more than live with the people and, have them speak about it in highly integral ways. Like, it has substance or whatever. Right?
Where he wasn't really saying much, just kind of flexing his lyrical abilities, 100%. But there was also some of the most important songs of his career-defining songs that were most definitely full of substance and are just not really discussed today because they're either on some Dat Piff mixtape that doesn't exist on streaming platforms, or it's one of the dozens of songs that was leaked in the Carter 3 era. Or
so obviously they're not gonna know you about those songs because now they're forgotten media. Nobody's gonna know you about your depth and your tapped inness with, substance or whatever.
It's a feature on someone else's song like Hollywood Divorce, Lost by Gorilla Zoe, After Disaster with Joel Santana. Like a lot of these songs that made Wayne the best rapper alive just got lost in the archives. And if they existed to be consumed in a more traditional fashion, like just posted on a streaming platform, the discussion about Wayne and his contribution to the game, I believe, would be a lot different. And yes, I know a lot of these mixtapes ended up finally on streaming platforms, but they were like a decade too late with that. And that gets me into another big point about Wayne's kind of weird legacy in the public eye, because I think his team is partly to blame for this perception. See, again, Wayne records, dozens of thousands of songs, right? I guarantee you today he can't name you 5 songs off the Carter 3. And that's just because the sheer volume of music he puts out, he just gives it to his team. They sift through it all, and they decide what makes the final track list. Now, they haven't been too good at doing that since, I want to say, the Carter 4. Again, this is coming from someone who followed Wayne's career very closely. How they left songs like Jungle, I Don't Like It / Light, Kidnap Cupid, World on My Shoulders, all of these tracks that, you know, 90% of Wayne fans have probably never even heard were left off I'm Not a Human Being 2, but instead we got My Tongue is a Uzi, My D is an AK.
When I was young, I used to cry because I had dark skin. Martin Luther King gon' slap the out me when I die, man.
There was an interview somewhere, I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it for this video, but Wayne had spoke on in 2008 how after the success of Carter 3, he wanted to completely switch things up and go rock, right?
Yeah, I remember
and
that.
he had said that he told his team not to say a single thing about the direction he was taking things in. He had full creative control on that one. And I think that was, to be honest, a bit of a mistake because before Rebirth, we saw, you know, probably Birdman, probably Cash Money's A&Rs have a very heavy hand in everything that Wayne put out. And it was a lot of quality, right? Carter 3, Carter 2, tons of substance on both those projects, in my opinion, right? You had, again, on Carter 3 alone, Let the Beat Build, Dr. Carter, Mr. Carter, Don't Get It, Tie My Hands, Shoot Me Down, Playing with Fire. Like, guys, that's half the track list for Wayne's, you know, most iconic album of all time. And that's me being generous, not putting songs like Three-Peat, A Milli, Comfortable in the category of
Go there, though.
Tracks of Wayne's that had substance, right? Anyways, you compare track lists like that to basically everything that came after Rebirth, and you could tell, like, there was an A&R missing in those offices, and the, you know, track selection for Wayne's albums was being mismanaged, to say the least. Like, it was his childhood friends, right? I think it was Mac Main and Cortez Bryant, and now they're not even around, you know, selecting the songs for Wayne albums, and they've just gotten worse and worse. The Carter 6, Funeral. And listen, sometimes they get it right. I would say...
I'm not gonna lie, Funeral was hard as fuck. Funeral did go crazy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Funeral was crazy.
Singles like Mirror or How to Love off the Carter 4, those songs had substance to them. Drop the World off Rebirth with Eminem, like that song had substance. But I mean, you look at those track lists and there's definitely a lot of filler on them. No denying that. But at the same time, if you were, again, really following Wayne, I know I'm going to sound like a broken record, but in that Rebirth era, when a lot of people were trashing on what Wayne did, you could just dig online and find songs like I Told Y'all, No Quitter, Go Getter. These songs were going diamond on YouTube in 2008, but the problem is they remained on YouTube, right? Or they remained on mixtapes. And when you go back and actually look at his full catalog on Apple Music, you see track lists like Rebirth or I'm Not a Human Being 2 or Carter 6, which kind of makes people who weren't really around to remember these mixtape cuts that, you know, really defined Wayne's legacy back then. They're now left to think that, you know, he was a talented punchline rapper without much depth and a lot of hits, but also a lot of misses. And look, Wayne is to blame for this as well, right? He's complaining about, you know, not being nominated for any Grammys this year. He was complaining 12 years ago when I'm Not a Human Being 2 released that he was not nominated for any MTV awards, any BET awards. And he keeps saying, you know, I'm going to work better and harder and be undeniable for you guys to, you know, nominate me and all that stuff. He said the same thing after the Super Bowl, right? He said, I'm going to make sure I work so hard so they have to regret that they didn't give me that slot. In the end, what did we get? We got the Carter 6, guys. So I can't blame.
Yeah. Oh shit. Yeah, that did not produce the results that, you know, he was expecting then.
People who have recency bias, right? I said in a previous video that I think a big, you know, tarnish to Wayne's legacy, or why Wayne's legacy is not remembered properly, is also because he was absent for a good chunk of the 2010s when all his little clones were kind of running around building this new era out, right? When the streaming era had emerged. Wayne was going through those legal battles with Cash Money during that whole period, and by the time he was finally, you know, settled up in that lawsuit and able to actually release music, the landscape of music as we know it had changed. Spotify controlled consumption, all those Dat Piff mixtapes were long gone. There wasn't much novelty to what Wayne was bringing to the table because at that point in time, this is like 2018, everyone pretty much sounded like Wayne in one way or another by then. Because they grew up off those Carter 3 leaks. They grew up off those mixtapes. Of course. Those are no longer around. We're 10 years removed from even that point in time that I'm referencing, right? So with the recency bias people have, of course they're going to forget moments like that, right? But then you got guys like Chance the Rapper who not only just said that Wayne is the reason he's rapping, but he also said if he had to rank his favorite albums of all time, the Carter 3 would be in there twice. It wouldn't just be the actual Carter 3 album, but it'd also be what was supposed to be the original Carter 3, which
The
is what I was
leaked
telling you guys
songs.
about earlier in this video. The Lost album that really had some of Wayne's best lyrical performances. His stuff with the most substance. And I mean, if I had to chalk it up, if you were a kid following Wayne in 2006 to 2008, I'd be surprised to hear you say that even reviewing those songs 10 years, 15 years later, that you didn't find any positive messaging or any substance.
So I'd say what it was it was PR failure, right? It was PR failure because, as we know, bro, like these artists, they bring out or they expose or they display outwardly the image that they want their audience to know about them. You understand what I'm saying? So either Wayne did not consider how the image he was projecting to his audience as Lil Wayne was gonna age so terribly. He didn't know that. You know what I'm saying? Or people just like chose to selectively go with the image, right? With the elements around the image around Wayne's name, right? They chose to believe certain elements or take seriously certain elements over others. You know what I'm saying? Because there was this substance, bro. And therefore, I wanted to dive into this video, you know, trying to find out like what, like where does this, you know, the souring of ages of Lil Wayne's legend, the souring of his legend, where does it all come from? What inspires this whole thing? I think it's like PR miscommunication or misconstruing or misrepresentation. Wayne is a very deep guy, bro. Like, yo, there's songs where, yo, Wayne is mad deep, bro. Wayne got mad substance. You know what I mean? Just now, you know how his image was chosen to be projected out there. You know what I'm saying? It got a whole lot of people like down, like I would aged. You know what I'm saying? Just being like, yeah, nah, dog. I don't think he's worthy to be in a Hall of Fame, so to speak, in terms of like the kind of rap music that gave us life. Like, yo, like I'm not gonna lie. For me personally, that feels blasphemous to say that even.
Within them, right?
Facts.
Was the messaging potentially delivered in an unconventional way? Of course. Like Wayne said, he's misunderstood. Like I said, Wayne is 3 decades in, and all he really knows is just being a rich, talented guy who's praised all the time, who has been in a recording studio since the age of 12, right?
Okay.
Of course, his perception of reality and the way he portrays that with his pen is going to be a little bit unconventional. That doesn't mean there's not a positive message or substance behind it, at least in my opinion. But again, I'm someone who followed Wayne's career very closely since the age of 10. And because of that, I could definitely realize that there were 3 massive factors as to why Wayne was the best rapper alive at one point. Number 1 was that feature run. Number 2 was that mixtape run. And number 3 was just the incredible quality and quantity of music we were getting from 2006 to around 2009. Again, a lot of this stuff came in the form of leaked songs. And even with his mixtapes and features, they never really existed properly on a streaming platform for people to have lived with them over the last 10, 15 years, right? Because Wayne's peak was over 15 years ago at this point. So for someone who wasn't really around back then, it'd be very easy to have either A, never heard of these songs, B, forgotten about a lot of these songs, or C, be so skewed by the vast amount of not so great subject matter that we got from Wayne over the years, because again, there were thousands of songs, that it would be very easy to forget about the songs that did pack a lot of substance. But again, as someone who followed Wayne since they were 10 years old, I do think that people who were around for Wayne's prime, when he was calling himself the best rapper alive and people genuinely believed it, it was those 3 factors that made him the GOAT: the features, the mixtapes, and the leaks. And it was on all of that music where we saw Wayne actually get really deep and actually deliver positive and thought-provoking messages. But because it's lost media, because it's kind of just assorted all throughout the ethos of the internet, it makes his catalog and his legacy a little hard to fully remember properly. And I think I was like in the middle of saying that earlier in this video, where I said like some of the blame should go to Wayne. Like definitely if you're crying about not being invited to the Grammys or the Super Bowl, like it should be reasons like this that make you wake up and realize, oh wait, I'm still an amazing rapper and I have tons of songs with substance within them, but somehow they're just not usually getting officially released to the public, which is kind of a weird way to put it, but I think that's the best way to put it. Most Young Money members, specifically Drake and Nicki Minaj, who have been throwing temper tantrums on social media for the last year and a half, I would highly advise them to stay offline. But as for someone like Wayne, I actually think it'd be really positive for him